Hi everyone, this video shows you how to troubleshoot issues related to your model space units and scale. I will show you how to check your units and scale and then how to fix them if they're wrong. I'm using your exercise 2 as an example. If you have watched Natalie's video, you should know how to set up your model space into the correct unit and also how to load this JPEG in the correct scale. But what if anything goes wrong, right? For example, in this case, I think I might be wrong because when I set up my paper space and I set it up the viewport, the scale doesn't look correct. So now I go back to my model space and I want to double check. So the first thing I do is, check the units. Okay, now it looks good. So we move on. It's likely that you probably created a default DWG file and they may be in inches or in centimeters. So check your units. They're in feet, decimal feet, correct. And then the next thing, I would use the scale bar to confirm the scale of this drawing. We mentioned that model space is kind of like a virtual reality. It's like a virtual true space. Everything is in the true sizes. 1 feet in reality is 1 feet in your model space. 1 inch is 1 inch. So it is 1-in-1 true scale space. And in the model space, in the paper space, you could change it to different scales, right? So now I will type in this. Let me just dip this file a little bit so that you could see more clearly. I will fade it out. Okay, like this. And let's use dist. I type in dist, or I could type it in my command bar. It's the same thing. Dist. And now I want to measure this from 0 to 20 feet. Do you see that? The measurement shows is about 6.46 and it's not as close. It's not nearly close to 20 feet, right? So we know that we are off scale. And now how to fix it? There are different ways. If you have a math hat, what you can do is to do a little bit of math so that you could convert your factor into the correct one. Another way is, I will show you later, scale it correctly based on this graphic scale that provided for you. So now I will select everything. If you're already halfway done of your work, so you just Control A, means select everything. So without redo your work, here is a quicker way to change your scale. I just selected everything and then I type in scale. I could specify a base point. For this one, for this exercise, it doesn't matter, but I will just, select whichever. I just clicked on a random point. And now the next move is that you could specify a scale factor, or you could use copy or reference. In our case, we will use a reference. If you did your math and you know the scale factor, you could type in the name. For example, if you want to twice the size, you could type in 2. But in this case, we didn't do the math. We want to use reference. In the reference of the scale bar, I click on reference, or I type in R and hit enter. And now it wants me to specify the reference length. What I could do is to pick the point on my graphic scale. I start from 0 and then specify a second point. I go to 20, okay? And then I will type in the correct lengths in model space. Of course, that consistent with the model space units. So I want it to be 20 feet. Hit enter. And now all of your work, including this JPEG, are fixed. Let's double check distance. From 0 to 20, right? They're very close to 20. And now we say it is in the correct scale. Remember we said there are the other mathematical ways. So without using referenced lines, what we need to do is do a little bit math. Let me show you. I'm gonna play around with it. I just shrink the image so that we know it's off size, right? And now we could use the dist command again. Let's see. This time, I would measure, let's see if there are other options. Okay, let's measure 10, because I think tenths are easier for your calculation. Okay. So as I hover to 10, you see the true distance is 7.0844. So now we need to do a little bit math. 7.0844. This is the current size in our model space, right? But we want it to become 10 feet. So what we need to do is we multiply by a factor to let it become 10, right? A factor to multiply this original number. So we need it to become 10. So now you will do a little bit math. What is the factor? So this number times the factor equals to 10, right? This number. And now we need to find out the factor. What we need to do is divide it by this number on both sides of the equation so that to cancel out the term on this side, right? So to find out the factor, 10 divided by 7.0844, right? Do you get it? Okay. Now I will bring up my calendar to do that. Factor equals 10 divided by 7.0844. 1.44. Okay, it's a not large number, but I'm gonna mark it down. Let's just annotate for you. So we need to multiply by the factor of 1.4115. Okay, it's close enough. So now let's get back to everything we drew. I select all again by typing Control A. And then now let's rescale it. Scale, specify a base point, doesn't matter. And now instead of use reference, we just did, we will type in the scale factor, which is 1.4155. Hit enter. Cool. We're done. We're done. We're done. Just to double check. Dist. 0. 20. Very close enough. Cool. These are the ways to fix your units and your scale issue. Thank you very much.